Welcome, Van den Berg. Thank you so much for joining us at the Digitizing Europe Summit and also taking a little bit of time to answer a few questions. Could you maybe elaborate a little bit on the mission of the EIT and why it was built already 10 years ago?
Well, I think the mission of the EIT is very straightforward and simple. It is making innovation happen in Europe. That's what this is all about. And it started 10 years ago because of the simple observation that in Europe we have an excellent education system, we have an excellent research system, and we have excellent companies. And still, we are still lagging behind when it comes to innovation. How can that happen? And you should see it not from a frustration side, but rather from a positive side. We have these magnificent ingredients ready in Europe, and we simply have to draw them together to make innovation happen. And that is what the EIT does.
If you now look back the last 10 years, what is the biggest success? What's the success story?
I think it's very important to understand the basic dynamics of the EIT. And that is about connecting the dots, bringing the necessary ingredients together to make innovation work. And this is not just bringing education, research and businesses together. It's also about making sure that you create the eco-climate for innovators to actually be successful. It's not just an idea, it's not just a technology, it's a compact of good advice, good mentoring, access to human resources, access to finances, that creates the ingredients to actually be successful in innovation. And now in its 10 years of existence, I think it's very important to note that indeed the EIT has become an integral part of the innovation system in Europe, as you can see everywhere. We have just seen this morning Lilium. It is in fact an innovative company that has been supported by the KIC Climate. So basically, I think this is about bringing the right ingredients together to make innovation work.
I was just at an event where the participants were asked if they believe that a new and globally influential tech company will come from Europe, and 100% of the participants disagreed. What's your response? Do you agree? Do you disagree? And why do you think are these participants so frustrated and negative?
I think it is quite possible. It's very possible. We have the excellence in Europe. We simply have to work with it. And that's what we are doing in the EIT. So I would be very optimistic about it. There is no reason to stay behind or whatever. We simply have to make better use of our resources.
Is this the main challenge, the resources, the better use of it? Or in your opinion, what can or must be changed?
Well, resources not just in terms of financials, but rather the talent that we have here at our disposal in Europe. And once again, it's really by bringing them together and making them relevant that things will work. So this is not, the EIT is not about a policy somewhere centrally formulated or whatever. This is about going to the bottom, going to the grassroots, going to the ground, and make sure that people find themselves in an environment where they can work. That is how our innovations, which are now over 1,250 startup and scale-up companies, actually will come to flourish. By the creation of this knowledge and innovation communities, we create innovation communities around relevant themes like energy, like climate, like raw materials. And that creates, the kind of setting, ecosystem, I would even say, this pipeline of ideas and talent that really will create the right conditions for Europe to become very, very successful on a global scale.
In your experience, do you see certain sectors where Europe has a special advantage, also especially looking abroad to the US and China to compete with those companies? Is there some specific sectors, areas, technologies where Europe has to or stands out?
Actually, as you heard this morning, there's very much focus on machine learning, artificial intelligence, that kind of thing. But I think, we should look a little bit behind what's happening in Europe. And I simply say that we have such a broad set of talents that if you discuss just artificial intelligence now, there might be something even more important behind that. And Europe is totally capable of producing that kind of new challenges. So I would not say that there's only one particular chance for Europe to become successful in the world. I would say that we are ready to face on the broad range of challenges we are faced with for Europe to come up with solutions. We have, once again, excellent universities, we have excellent education, and we should simply be more proud, be more self-confident in what we actually can achieve in Europe.
That leads to the last question. If you have one wish, what would be the one wish that you would actually like to say about Europe?
Actually, I would like to take up what Tom Anders said this morning, and I think it's, what we actually need is openness, open to the world, within member states, open to Europe, because cooperation is important. We need speed, that is that we cannot wait and discuss policy notes endlessly, whatever. We need to act, we need to work, and we need to have dare, and that is to jump into something, try it, even fail, who cares? It's simply being part of the game that already matters. So I think these are very important notions that we should try to inject our policymakers, our governance, but also within companies. It's not just governance. That simply they need to be a bit more, I would say, entrepreneurial in the end.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the conference, and thank you for your time.
Pleasure to be here.